good morning, or perhaps good whatever time it is where you are. Let me start by asking you a question that might seem absurdly simple, yet it cuts to the very core of how you experience reality every single day. Do you really know the sun will rise tomorrow? You're probably thinking, of course I do. It always has. And your certainty feels absolute, doesn't it? You're already mentally mapping out your morning routine, aren't you? Perhaps you're anticipating that first, crucial sip of coffee. You expect it to be hot, steaming, aromatic, ready to kickstart your day, just like it always is. But let's pause for a moment and really scrutinize that expectation. What is your actual, undeniable proof that your coffee will be hot tomorrow morning, or that the sun will indeed ascend over the horizon? Think deeply about it. Your proof, your absolute conviction, stems entirely from past experience. Because the sun has risen every day of your life, because your coffee machine has consistently delivered a hot brew, you confidently project those patterns onto the future. It feels like an undeniable truth, an instinct hardwired into your being, a fundamental principle of how the world operates. But what if a brilliant mind, centuries ago, peered into that seemingly solid foundation of common sense and saw not bedrock, but a vast, unsettling abyss where we blindly place our trust? Imagine a philosopher, courageous enough, perhaps even a little audacious, who dared to question the very foundations of knowledge we take for granted. This wasn't some madman claiming the world was an illusion, but a meticulous thinker who scrutinized the very act of knowing itself, challenging us to distinguish between what we assume will happen and what we can logically prove must happen. He didn't seek to deny the existence of cause and effect, but rather to expose the astonishing fragility of our certainty regarding it, revealing how much of what we know about the future is built not on rational necessity, but on deeply ingrained habit and psychological assumption. We tend to believe our senses give us direct access to an objective reality, and that our reason allows us to make infallible deductions about how events will unfold. Yet, what if the greatest trick our minds play on us is convincing us of a certainty that simply isn't there? What if our unwavering belief that every event must have a cause, and that similar causes will always produce similar effects, is less a universal law discovered by pure intellect and more a powerful, deeply ingrained psychological habit, an instinct rather than a logical necessity? This isn't just about coffee or sunrises, it's about the entire framework of your understanding, the very fabric of your predictive abilities. This isn't some abstract, academic game we're about to play with dusty old books. This is about the fundamental way you perceive the world, make decisions, and construct your understanding of truth and certainty. In this journey, we're not just dissecting ancient texts by Friedrich Nietzsche, we're embarking on a profound exploration into the very architecture of your mind, seeking to understand how you truly know things, and perhaps more importantly, what you don't. We're going to peel back the layers of everyday assumptions, challenge your most cherished beliefs about reality, and uncover the surprising, often counterintuitive origins of what you consider to be undeniable facts. Consider this video not as a dry, academic lecture, but as a practical guide to thinking more clearly, a mental toolkit for navigating the complexities of existence with greater insight, sharper critical faculties, and, yes, perhaps even a touch more humility about what we confidently claim to know. By understanding the profound skepticism that can be applied to even the most basic elements of our experience, we unlock a powerful new lens through which to appreciate the radical insights of thinkers like Nietzsche and their profound impact on how we view art, morality, and the very human condition itself. Are you ready to truly examine everything you thought you knew? Because that's where the real journey begins, into the depths of your own mind and beyond. Welcome to a journey into some of the most profound ideas that have shaped our understanding of ourselves and the world. Today, we're not just opening a book, we're opening a direct conversation with a mind that, even centuries later, continues to clarify, challenge, and, in a very real sense, wake up the world. Let me introduce you to someone you might expect to find in a dusty academic archive, but who I promise you is anything but stuffy David Hume. Forget the stereotype of the dour, isolated philosopher. Imagine instead a brilliant, jovial Scottish gentleman, known not just for his intellect, but for his quick wit, his robust friendships, and his insatiable appetite for good company. He was the kind of person you'd absolutely love to share a pint with, someone who could, with a twinkle in his eye, dismantle your most cherished assumptions, leaving you not offended, but genuinely enlightened. Hume wasn't merely a philosopher, he was a master observer of human nature, a friendly giant of common-sense skepticism, whose insights are, arguably, more urgently relevant today than at any point in history. His seminal work, An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding, sounds formidable, I know, but I urge you to think of it less as a dry academic treatise and more as a foundational user's manual for your own brain. Seriously. It's an incisive, clear-eyed guide to how we actually think, perceive, and form beliefs, rather than how we imagine we ought to. It's a practical handbook for navigating the bewildering, often overwhelming landscape of information, misinformation, and deeply entrenched convictions that define our modern lives. Now, I have to share a personal revelation. For a significant portion of my life, I walked around with quiet confidence, convinced that my understanding of the world, my most fundamental beliefs about truth and reality, were built upon solid, unshakable rock. I trusted my senses, my reason, and the apparent order of the universe implicitly. Then I met Hume. Through his elegant, yet utterly devastating arguments, he gently, but profoundly, showed me that what I perceived as intellectual bedrock was, in fact, built on something far more human, more wonderfully fallible, and yet paradoxically more powerful habit. The ceaseless repetition of events, the consistent associations our minds make these, Hume argued, are the true, often invisible architects of our seemingly ironclad convictions. It was a revelation, humbling yet incredibly liberating. It was like realizing the intricate, mostly unconscious, machinery of my own thought processes for the very first time. And this, precisely, is why embarking on this exploration of Hume is so crucial right now. His 18th century insights aren't mere relics of a bygone intellectual era. They are a powerful, practical toolkit waiting to be translated and applied to the dizzying complexities of the 21st century. In a world saturated with information, where truth feels increasingly subjective, where algorithms shape our perceptions, and where appeals to raw emotion often eclipse appeals to sober reason, Hume's common-sense skepticism offers a vital compass. It teaches us not what to think, but how to think more clearly, more critically, and with a profound appreciation for the limits and wonders of our own minds. It's about cultivating an intellectual humility that empowers us to question not just the pronouncements of others, but the unexamined assumptions within ourselves, and in doing so, build a more robust, more honest, and truly useful framework for understanding the world. This journey with Hume isn't just an academic exercise, it's an invitation to re-examine the very foundations of your understanding, to recognize the subtle, pervasive power of habit in shaping your reality, and ultimately, to equip yourself with a sharper, more discerning mind for the unparalleled challenges and opportunities of today. Welcome to Chapter 1, where we lay the groundwork for understanding one of the most pivotal philosophical distinctions that profoundly influenced thinkers like Nietzsche, David Hume's separation of impressions and ideas. This might sound like a technicality, but it's the fundamental building block for his entire system of thought and, by extension, a lens through which we can better appreciate Nietzsche's radical critiques. Hume, an 18th-century Scottish philosopher, sought to understand the very fabric of human knowledge. He wasn't interested in what we should think, but how we actually think. And his journey began with a simple, yet profound, observation about the contents of our minds. He categorized everything we experience into two types: impressions and ideas. Let's use a very direct, visceral analogy to grasp this distinction. Imagine for a moment accidentally touching a hot stove. That immediate, searing, intense pain, that sudden jolt of agony that makes you snatch your hand back instantly, that is what Hume calls an impression. It's vivid, forceful, and strikes you with full, unmitigated impact. It's the direct, raw data of experience. It encompasses all our sensations, passions, and emotions as they first make their appearance in the soul. Seeing the vibrant red of a sunset, hearing the thunderous crash of waves, feeling the smooth coolness of marble, these are all impressions. They are the initial powerful inputs from the world into our minds. Now, later that day, you might recall the incident. You might tell a friend, "Remember that time I burned my hand on the stove?" As you recount it, or even just think about it, you might feel a faint echo of that pain. You remember the sensation, perhaps wince a little, but it's nowhere near as intense or immediate as the original experience. You're not actually feeling the searing pain again. This memory, this fainter copy, this reflection of the original impression is what Hume terms an idea asterisk. Ideas are, essentially, the images of impressions in our thinking and reasoning. They are less lively, less vivid, and less forceful than their original counterparts. When you think about the taste of a lemon, the idea of sourness you experience is far removed from the impression of actually biting into a lemon. It's the difference between seeing a terrifying monster in a horror film and impression, if you're truly startled, and merely remembering the plot of that film days later, an idea. This leads us to Hume's core principle: all our thoughts, no matter how complex or abstract, ultimately originate from direct experienced facts. Every idea we possess, every concept we juggle, every thought that flits through our minds can ultimately be traced back to a prior impression or a combination of impressions. This is a radical claim. It means that there's nothing in our intellect that wasn't first in our senses. Consider the implications for imagination. Hume argued that our imagination, while incredibly powerful in combining and rearranging ideas, is fundamentally limited by the impressions we've already received. We can imagine a golden mountain, because we have impressions of gold and impressions of mountain, and we can join them together. We can picture a benevolent unicorn because we have impressions of horses and horns and kindness. But can you truly invent a completely new color that you have never seen, or a sensation entirely unlike anything you have ever felt? A color beyond the spectrum, or a taste that isn't sweet, sour, salty, bitter, or umami, and not a combination of them? According to Hume, no. Our mind, he contended, simply cannot conjure up a wholly novel basic impression. Our creative capacity is one of combination and rearrangement, not of raw, original creation from nothing. Every complex idea, when broken down, reveals simpler ideas, which in turn point back to the vivid impressions from which they were derived. This distinction between impressions and ideas isn't merely an academic exercise, it is the absolute foundational building block for understanding everything else Hume says about causality, personal identity, morality, and even religion. It dictates what we can truly know and how we can know it. If an idea cannot be traced back to an impression, Hume is deeply skeptical of its validity. This radical empiricism is what made him such a disruptive force in philosophy, laying the intellectual groundwork for later thinkers to challenge established norms and beliefs, including, as we'll see, Friedrich Nietzsche in his own profound way. So, remember, impressions are the vivid, immediate experiences. Ideas are their fainter copies in our minds. Keep this core concept firmly in mind, as it will be our constant companion throughout our exploration of Nietzsche's world. Welcome to Chapter 2, The Mind's Playlist: How Your Thoughts Connect. Have you ever noticed how one thought effortlessly pulls another into your mind, almost like a natural magnetic force? It's as if your brain has its own internal DJ, curating a continuous, often surprising soundtrack of ideas. This isn't random, it's a fundamental aspect of human cognition, a kind of mental gravity that binds our inner world. The Scottish philosopher David Hume, centuries ago, meticulously mapped out these invisible threads, proposing 3 core principles that govern how our ideas associate. Understanding these isn't just an academic exercise, it's peeking behind the curtain at the very mechanism of how we make sense of our reality, how our personal mental playlists are spontaneously generated. Let's dive into the first principle: resemblance. This is perhaps the most intuitive. Simply put, ideas that are similar tend to call each other forth. Think about that one song. You hear its opening notes, and instantly, vividly, you're transported back to a specific summer, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the smell of barbecue, the laughter of friends. The song isn't the summer itself, but its sounds, its mood, its very essence, resemble that experience, triggering the memory. Or perhaps you see a painting of a majestic lion, and without conscious effort, your mind conjures the image of a real lion, its power and grace. The painted image resembles the living creature, and your thoughts naturally leap between them. This is our mind finding patterns, drawing parallels, effortlessly linking like to like. Next, we encounter contiguity, a principle built on proximity, whether in space or time. This is about things that are habitually found together. Imagine you're thinking about your house keys. What's the very next thought that often surfaces? For many, it's the image of their front door, or perhaps the ignition of their car. You rarely find one without the other in your daily life, so your mind forms an unbreakable bond between them. Similarly, if you recall the name of a specific street, you might immediately picture the coffee shop or bookstore you always associate with it. These aren't necessarily similar items, but they are contiguous experienced together, often repeatedly, in your personal narrative. Our brains are constantly creating maps of our experiences, and contiguity ensures that when we visit one point on the map, nearby points are highlighted. It's the mental echo of spatial and temporal closeness. Finally, we arrive at what Hume considered the most powerful and, ironically, the most mysterious of these connections: cause and effect. This is where our minds attempt to predict, to understand the forces at play in the world. When you see dark clouds gathering on the horizon, your mind almost automatically anticipates rain. You don't have to consciously decide to think about rain. The clouds simply cause that idea to emerge. If you accidentally touch a hot stove, the memory of that burn instantly brings forth the idea of pain, even before the physical sensation fully registers in the future. We connect the action of the stove cause to the resulting pain effect. What makes this principle so profound is that we never truly see the causation itself. We only observe the constant conjunction of events. We infer the causal link based on repeated experience, making it a cornerstone of our understanding of how the world operates and how we navigate it. It's the ultimate if-then statement of our mental programming. These three principles, resemblance, contiguity, and cause and effect, are the unseen gears driving your personal mind's playlist. They aren't conscious decisions you make, but rather automatic, foundational processes humming beneath the surface of your awareness. They form the invisible architecture of your thoughts, constantly pulling, pushing, and shaping the flow of your inner monologue, your memories, and your anticipations. They are the mental gravity that keeps your universe of ideas coherent, predictable, and connected, allowing you to move seamlessly from one thought to the next, building a rich, intricate tapestry of understanding. By recognizing these fundamental associations, we begin to appreciate the intricate, often unconscious, machinery that governs how we perceive, remember, and ultimately comprehend the world around us. This understanding is crucial as we delve deeper into the philosophical landscapes crafted by thinkers like Nietzsche, for whom the very structure of human perception and belief was paramount. Welcome back, truth seekers. As we embark on Chapter 3, prepare to delve into a foundational distinction that will reshape how you understand knowledge itself. This isn't merely an academic exercise, it's a lens through which we'll eventually scrutinize the very fabric of our beliefs, laying the groundwork for understanding Nietzsche's profound insights into art, science, and life. Today, we confront two fundamentally different flavors of truth, what philosophers term relations of ideas and matters of fact. Let's begin with relations of ideas. Imagine staring at a mathematical equation or contemplating a geometric proof. When you consider the statement, "All triangles have three sides," what kind of truth is that? It's a truth that feels absolutely, undeniably certain. You don't need to go out into the world and find triangles to count their sides. The very definition of a triangle dictates its three-sided nature. This kind of truth is knowable purely through thought, through reason, through the logical connection of concepts. It is necessarily true. Its opposite is inconceivable and contradictory. 2 + 2 = 4, for instance, is another perfect example. We deduce it, we don't discover it through observation. The certainty here is absolute, irrefutable, and independent of any experience of the external world. These truths are a priori known before or independently of experience. They deal with abstract concepts and their logical relationships. However, and this is crucial, while they provide us with absolute certainty, relations of ideas tell us precisely nothing about the actual, messy, unpredictable world we inhabit. They are certain, yes, but they exist in a realm of pure thought, devoid of empirical content. They offer no insight into whether triangles exist in reality or whether there are apples to be counted. Now, let's pivot to matters of fact. This is where we step out of the realm of abstract certainty and into the tangible, experienced world. Consider the statement, "It is raining outside right now." How do you determine the truth of this? You look out the window, or step outside, or perhaps check a weather app. You rely on sensory experience. This statement tells you something specific about the world. But here's the kicker. Is it absolutely 100% certain? No, it's always possible you're mistaken, or dreaming, or that the window is fogged, or that the app data is delayed. The opposite of this statement, "It is asterisk not asterisk raining outside," is perfectly conceivable and non-contradictory. There's no logical impossibility in it not raining, even if your senses currently tell you otherwise. Matters of fact are learned through experience, through observation, and through interacting with the world. They are what philosophers call asterisk a posteriori asterisk known after or through experience. Unlike relations of ideas, they are contingent. They could be otherwise. The sun could fail to rise tomorrow while we expect it to. There's no logical contradiction in it not doing so. Every piece of scientific knowledge, every historical account, every prediction about the future falls into this category. Why is this distinction so incredibly important? Because the vast majority of our lives, from the monumental scientific discoveries that shape our understanding of the cosmos to the simplest daily decisions we make, are built upon matters of fact. Think about it, our understanding of physics, biology, history, psychology, all predicated on observations, experiments, and patterns observed in the world. Our daily choices, like crossing the street safely or deciding what to eat for dinner, rely on assumptions about how the world generally behaves. And yet, this entire edifice of knowledge and action rests upon truths that are, by their very nature, never absolutely certain. They are probable, yes, highly likely even, but never logically guaranteed. This brings us to the profound and unsettling problem that preoccupied one of the greatest minds of the Enlightenment, David Hume, whose ideas will deeply resonate as we explore Nietzsche. If all our knowledge of the world, all our empirical understanding, is fundamentally based on matters of fact, knowledge derived from experience, and inherently lacking absolute certainty, then how can we truly trust it? How do we justify our belief in cause and effect, in the uniformity of nature, in the very possibility of reliable knowledge about the future based on past experience? How do we move from "it has always happened this way" to "it asterisk will asterisk happen this way"? This is the central epistemological challenge Hume grappled with, a challenge that questions the very foundations of human reason and our capacity to know the world. This distinction between the unshakable certainty of abstract ideas and the experiential, yet ultimately uncertain, nature of worldly facts is not just a philosophical nuance, it's a fault line running through our entire understanding of reality, and it's precisely at this fault line that Nietzsche, too, will eventually dig. Welcome back to our exploration of Nietzsche's groundbreaking work. Today, we dive into Chapter 4, The Great Illusion: Deconstructing Cause and Effect. Prepare yourselves, because we're about to challenge one of the most fundamental pillars of our understanding of the world, the very notion of cause and effect. Think for a moment about a simple, everyday occurrence, a game of billiards. You see the cue ball, ball A, strike another ball, ball B. Instantly, ball B moves across the table. Now, what just happened? Our immediate, intuitive response is to say, ball A caused ball B to move. And that feels undeniably true, doesn't it? But let's look closer with a critical eye. What did you actually observe? You saw ball A moving, then it made contact with ball B. Immediately after that contact, you saw ball B move. You observed a sequence of events. But did you see the cause? Did you perceive the force itself? The invisible push that inherently made ball B move? Or did you only see the consequences of that supposed force? If you're honest with yourself, you'll realize you didn't see the causation. You saw a sequence. You saw ball A approach ball B, touch it, and then ball B depart. The causation, that invisible, necessary connection binding the two events, remains elusive to our senses. What we're actually observing, what our senses deliver, is what philosophers call a constant conjunction. We've simply seen these two events, ball A hitting ball B and ball B moving, happen together in that precise order over and over again. From our earliest days, we've watched countless interactions where one object makes contact with another and the second object then moves. We've built up a vast library of these observed sequences. It's not that we perceive an intrinsic, unshakable link, rather, we've accumulated evidence of repeated occurrences. The sun rises every morning, the tide comes in and out, the apple falls from the tree. These are all instances of constant conjunction. Event A consistently followed by event B. So, if we don't see the causation, if we only witness this constant conjunction, where does our unshakable belief in cause and effect come from? This is where the profound psychological aspect comes in. Our belief in causation is, in essence, a mental leap. It's an expectation, a habit of mind, that we project onto the world around us. Because we have witnessed A followed by B so many times in the past, we expect that in the future, if A occurs, B will necessarily follow. We infer a necessary connection, not because we observe it, but because our minds are wired to seek patterns, to create predictability. We take a multitude of past observations and extrapolate them into a universal law. We move from "this has always happened" to "this must happen." This projection, this active construction of cause by our minds, is what gives the illusion of a directly perceived, inherent connection between events. We're not passive recipients of cause and effect. We are, in a very real sense, the architects of our understanding of it. And this brings us to a truly mind-bending question, one that undermines our most deeply held scientific and philosophical convictions. Is gravity a fundamental, unbreakable law of the universe, an inherent force that must act in a certain way? Or is it, to paraphrase a radical thought, just a very, very strong habit we've observed so far? Think about that. What if the apple doesn't fall tomorrow? Our entire understanding of the cosmos relies on the assumption that the constant conjunction we've observed in the past will continue into the future. But what gives us the absolute certainty of that necessity beyond our own powerful ingrained expectation? Nietzsche, in his own way, would challenge us to look beyond these comforting illusions, to see the world not as a neat tapestry of causes and effects, but as a dynamic interplay of forces and interpretations. To understand that much of what we deem objective truth is, in fact, a deeply human, deeply psychological construction. This deconstruction of cause and effect prepares us for the radical re-evaluation of values that lies at the heart of the birth of tragedy, as it forces us to question the very foundations upon which we build our reality. Before diving deeper into Nietzsche's birth of tragedy we must understand a crucial philosophical precursor, David Hume's radical idea about belief. We typically view belief as a rational conclusion. Hume, however, argued it's not a calculation, but a powerful feeling, a robust sentiment ingrained by habit and custom. This concept underpins much of Nietzsche's skepticism towards pure reason and his emphasis on pre-rational forces. For Hume, belief is an idea endowed with unique vividness, force, and reality. Think of a purple elephant, merely imagining it versus believing it's behind you. The idea is similar, but the accompanying feeling is profoundly different. Belief possesses a vivacity, a firmness, a steadiness that compels conviction. It's the stark contrast between mere conception and being utterly convinced of something's reality. This view of belief illuminates our perception of cause and effect. We assume causes necessarily lead to effects, fire to heat, one billiard ball striking another. Hume questioned if we can prove this necessity. His answer was no. We observe merely constant conjunctions of events. Seeing a fire consistently followed by heat repeatedly forms a mental habit. When a reappears, the thought of doesn't just arise, it comes with such force and vividness that it feels real. This powerful expectation, born of habit, is our belief in causation. It's not logical deduction, but a psychological mechanism. Take a simple example: sitting on a chair. You believe without hesitation it will hold you. Do you calculate its physics, tensile strength, or structural integrity? No. You sit because it just feels true. This conviction isn't explicit reasoning, but an overwhelming lifetime of habit. Every past experience, every observation instills a powerful, unshakable feeling of certainty. This lived, habitual sense of reliability is your belief in the chair. It's a deep-seated sentiment, not a conscious computation. Hume's radical implication is profound. Our most fundamental convictions about the world, causality, nature's uniformity, even an external world, are rooted in feeling, habit, and custom, not pure reason. These aren't logical necessities, but powerful, ingrained psychological impressions governing our reality. This opens a gateway to Nietzsche. If our deepest truths stem from feeling, then the Apollonian and Dionysian pre-rational drives shaping culture and art might be more fundamental to constructing reality than detached reason. What we deem objective fact could be a culturally inherited, deeply felt interpretation, forged in human experience and psychological compulsion, not cold reason. This understanding of belief provides a crucial lens for Nietzsche's exploration of how ancient Greeks, through art and myths, built their world, not reflecting objective truth, but driven by powerful feelings and habits. Welcome back to our exploration of Nietzsche. In this chapter, we take a detour into a foundational philosophical challenge that underpins much of how we think about knowledge and certainty: the problem of induction, championed by David Hume. It's one of the most unsettling ideas in Western thought. At its core, the problem of induction exposes a glaring gap in our reasoning. We constantly assume the future will resemble the past. We expect the sun to rise tomorrow because it always has. We expect gravity to hold us down because it always has. But Hume asks, what is the logical basis for this assumption? What absolute proof do we have that past patterns must continue into the future? The uncomfortable truth, Hume argues, is there is no logical argument to prove this. Our belief that the future mirrors the past isn't based on deductive logic, where conclusions are guaranteed, but on habit, custom, and psychological expectation. We believe it because it's always been that way, not because we can logically demonstrate it. Must always be that way. It's a profound leap of faith. To vividly illustrate this, Bertrand Russell offered the inductivist turkey. Imagine a turkey. From its first day, it observes that every morning at 9 a.m., the farmer feeds it. Day after day, this ritual occurs under all conditions. The turkey, through diligent observation and inductive reasoning, concludes with unshakable certainty, I am fed at 9 a.m. every day, therefore. It is a universal law that I will always be fed at 9 a.m. Its confidence grows with each passing day. The law seems absolutely irrefutable. That is, until the morning of Thanksgiving Day, when the farmer arrives at 9 a.m., not with food, but with an axe. The turkey's fate perfectly encapsulates the problem of induction. Its entire scientific framework, based on a wealth of empirical data, was shattered by a single unforeseen event. This isn't just a quirky anecdote. It profoundly undermines the absolute certainty of all scientific laws and all our everyday predictions. The law of gravity, the laws of thermodynamics, all are built on inductive reasoning. We've observed these phenomena countless times, and they've always held true. But the problem of induction states that no matter how many times an experiment yields the same result, we can never logically prove that the next instance must also conform. We expect it to, and our world functions because it almost always does, but the logical guarantee is absent. This doesn't mean these laws are wrong, but that their certainty rests on empirical regularity, not logical necessity. Theoretically, the sun could fail to rise tomorrow, or gravity could suddenly reverse, and while experience screams impossible, pure logic cannot definitively rule it out. Now, before an existential crisis sets in, Hume isn't advocating we abandon experience or science. Far from it. He simply asks us to adopt a sense of profound humility about the nature of our knowledge. We rely on induction because it's pragmatically indispensable for survival and progress. It allows us to navigate the world and build technology. But by highlighting its logical limits, Hume reminds us that our scientific laws and understanding are fundamentally provisional, always open to revision. They are robust, incredibly useful descriptions of how the world has behaved and how it is overwhelmingly likely to continue to behave, but they are not etched in the stone of deductive certainty. This distinction encourages intellectual modesty, reminding us that even our deepest scientific truths are built upon an assumption that, while effective, remains ultimately unprovable. As we delve deeper into Nietzsche's Birth of Tragedy, specifically his profound reflections on human nature, fate, and our capacity for creation amidst suffering, a fundamental and perennial question inevitably surfaces: are we truly in control? Or are our actions merely the inevitable outcome of a causal chain stretching back into an impenetrable past? This isn't just an abstract, philosophical riddle. It's a question that profoundly shapes how we understand responsibility, destiny, and the very essence of what it means to be human. The classic dilemma unfolds like this: if every event in the universe, including our thoughts, desires, and choices, is caused by prior events, then it seems our actions are merely links in an unbroken chain of cause and effect. If this is the case, how can we possibly claim to be truly free? If everything we do is predetermined, if we couldn't have chosen otherwise, then the very concept of free will appears to crumble. This determinism on the surface seems to strip us of our agency, turning us into sophisticated automatons rather than self-directed individuals. This is the intellectual knot that has perplexed thinkers for millennia. It's here that the illuminating insights of the 18th century Scottish philosopher David Hume offer a deeply influential and, for many, a surprisingly satisfying solution. Hume approached this problem with his characteristic empirical rigor, observing how we actually use terms like freedom and necessity in everyday life. His conclusion was groundbreaking: free will and determinism are not mortal enemies locked in an eternal struggle. Rather, they are entirely compatible. This view is what we now call compatibilism. Hume's solution redefined freedom itself. For him, freedom isn't about defying the laws of cause and effect or acting spontaneously without any prior motivation. Instead, he argued that we are free when we have the power to act according to the determinations of our own will, without being coerced or constrained by external forces. In essence, freedom is the ability to do what you want to do. If you desire to raise your arm, and no physical impediment, no external force like a rope or a sudden paralysis, prevents you from doing so, then you are acting freely. Your action flows directly from your internal will, your desire. Now here's the crucial nuance. Hume readily acknowledged that your wants or desires themselves are determined. They are the products of your character, your past experiences, your upbringing, your genetic predispositions, and the specific circumstances you find yourself in. But for Hume, the fact that your desires are themselves determined doesn't make your subsequent action less free. Why? Because the action still originates from your internal state, from your will, from who you are It's not externally imposed. You are the source of the action, even if that source, your character and desires, has its own causal history. Freedom, in this sense, isn't chaos or randomness. It's the very opposite. It's the coherent expression of your character and desires. To make this concept tangible, consider a modern analogy. You're browsing a vast music streaming library, teeming with millions of songs. You freely choose a playlist, perhaps classical masterpieces for a moment of quiet reflection, or upbeat pop anthems to energize your workout. Your choice isn't arbitrary. It's determined by your taste, your current mood, your previous listening habits, and what you generally enjoy. You like classical music, so you choose the classical playlist. The choice is determined by your internal preference, by who you are at that moment. But would anyone suggest you weren't free to choose that playlist? Of course not. It was your choice, flowing directly from your desires, from your unique musical identity, even if those desires and that identity are themselves shaped by countless prior influences. You weren't forced to listen to a specific genre by an external agent. You exercised your internal will. This compatibilist view becomes profoundly important when we consider something as fundamental as moral responsibility. If our actions were truly random, if they bore no relation to our character or our desires, how could we possibly hold anyone accountable? If an action were genuinely uncaused, it would be a bizarre, alien event disconnected from the person who performed it. Hume argued that we hold people responsible precisely because their actions stem from their character, from their settled inclinations and intentions. When someone acts with cruelty, we condemn them because that cruelty reflects something fundamental about their disposition. It's not an uncaused anomaly. It's an expression of who they are, of their character. Similarly, when someone performs an act of great kindness, we praise them because it speaks to their compassionate nature. Their freedom, in Hume's sense, their ability to act according to their character and desires, is what makes them morally accountable. They chose to act according to their character, even if that character itself was shaped by countless prior influences. Thus, Hume brilliantly frames the debate, shifting the conversation away from the seemingly irresolvable conflict between freedom and causality. Instead of viewing determinism as an enemy of freedom, Hume invites us to see it as the very foundation upon which meaningful choice and moral responsibility are built. It's a perspective that, while not directly from Nietzsche, provides a crucial philosophical lens through which to examine any work grappling with human agency, the forces that shape us, and our capacity to embrace or transcend our determined nature. Welcome back, truth seekers, to Chapter 8, A Skeptic's Guide to Miracles. In our journey through the philosophical landscape, we often encounter claims that defy the everyday, that stretch the bounds of belief. How do we approach such claims? What tools can we employ to discern truth from illusion, reality from wishful thinking? For an answer, we turn to one of the most brilliant and incisive minds of the Scottish Enlightenment, David Hume. His argument against believing in miracles remains a cornerstone of critical thinking and a masterclass in probabilistic reasoning, especially pertinent in an age awash with extraordinary claims. So let's begin by understanding Hume's precise definition of a miracle. For Hume, a miracle isn't merely something wonderful or unexpected, like surviving a plane crash or witnessing an inexplicable recovery from illness. No, his definition is far stricter. A miracle, in Hume's estimation, is a violation of a law of nature. Not just a rare occurrence, but an outright breach, an overturning of a firmly established, universally observed pattern of the physical world. Think about it: water spontaneously turning into wine without any chemical process, a dead person rising to walk and talk again after days, or a heavy object floating upwards contrary to gravity. These aren't just improbable, they are, by definition, events that contradict everything we know about how the universe operates. The very word law implies an inviolable regularity, observed constantly and without exception by all mankind in all times and places. Now, with this definition in mind, Hume presents his core argument, which is essentially a balance of probabilities. He asks us to weigh two forms of evidence against each other. On one side, we have the evidence for a law of nature. This evidence is massive, overwhelming, and accumulated through the constant, uniform experience of all humanity. Every time an apple falls, every time the sun rises, Every time a body of water seeks its lowest level, we are reinforcing our understanding of these natural laws. The evidence for these laws is, by its very nature, constant and universal. On the other side of the scale, we have the evidence for a miracle human testimony. This is usually the account of one or more people claiming to have witnessed this violation of nature. And here's where Hume's skepticism bites. What is the track record of human testimony? It is notoriously fallible. People make mistakes, they misremember, they misinterpret, they exaggerate, they hallucinate, they can be biased, and yes, sometimes they outright lie. The number of instances where human testimony has been proven wrong far outstrips the number of times a natural law has been observed to fail. This leads us to Hume's famous, indeed devastating question: what is more likely? Is it more probable that a universal law of nature, established through the constant, unwavering experience of all ages and all peoples, has suddenly been broken? Or is it more probable that the person reporting this extraordinary event is mistaken, has been deceived, or is attempting to deceive others? For Hume, the answer is unequivocally clear. It is always more probable that the person reporting the miracle is mistaken or lying than that the laws of nature have been broken. Consider this when we hear a tale that defies all our understanding, say of a man who can fly by merely wishing it. Our immediate, rational instinct is not to question the law of gravity. Instead, we question the veracity of the claim, the reliability of the witness, or the conditions under which the observation was made. We automatically apply this principle without even realizing it. Hume's argument is not merely an academic exercise. It's a profound lesson in critical thinking skills that resonates powerfully in our modern world. In an era saturated with information, misinformation, and disinformation, this probabilistic framework becomes an indispensable tool. How do we evaluate extraordinary claims, whether they come in the form of internet hoaxes going viral, sensational news headlines lacking concrete evidence, unverified health remedies, or outlandish conspiracy theories? We apply Hume's lesson: the more a claim violates our established understanding of the world, the more it contradicts firmly established laws of physics, biology, or human behavior, the stronger the evidence must be to persuade us. And more often than not, the evidence presented for such claims, typically human testimony or anecdotal accounts, pales in comparison to the mountain of evidence supporting the existing laws it purports to break. So, the next time you encounter an astonishing claim, pause. Don't immediately dismiss it, but instead weigh the probabilities. Is the world truly upside down, or might there be a simpler, more human explanation for what's being reported? Hume teaches us that a healthy skepticism, grounded in an understanding of probabilities and the reliability of evidence, is not cynicism, but a vital intellectual defense against credulity. It equips us to navigate a complex world with greater discernment, allowing us to build our understanding on solid ground rather than on the shifting sands of the truly miraculous. Welcome back to our exploration of Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy. Today, we delve into a chapter I've titled Thinking Like an Animal: The Humble Origins of Reason. This isn't about diminishing human intellect, rather it's about grounding it, understanding its deep roots, and perhaps, in doing so, gaining a profounder appreciation for its true nature and inherent limitations. Nietzsche, though writing centuries after Hume, would have found a kindred spirit in the Scottish philosopher's radical empiricism, especially when it came to challenging our grand, often inflated notions of human exceptionalism. David Hume, that intellectual earthquake of the Enlightenment, posed a question that, on the surface, seems almost simplistic, yet its implications are vast, even revolutionary. He didn't just speculate from an armchair, he observed animals. He watched how they learn, how they adapt, how they form expectations. Think for a moment about a common, utterly relatable scene in many households. You're in the kitchen, perhaps reaching for a box of cereal, but instead, you accidentally knock against the large plastic container where your beloved dog's kibble is stored. That distinctive, unmistakable rustle of dry food shifting within its plastic confines. What happens next? Almost invariably, your dog, perhaps previously dozing peacefully in a sunbeam, will stir. Its head will lift, ears will twitch attentively, and its gaze will fix on you with an intense, unwavering focus, tail perhaps beginning a tentative, excited wag, all clear signs of an animal gripped by eager anticipation. There's an unmistakable surge of hope, of expectation in that canine heart. Why does this happen with such predictable regularity? The dog isn't engaging in abstract philosophical reasoning or complex logical deduction in the way we traditionally understand reason. It's not calculating probabilities based on a sophisticated understanding of food supply chains or human behavioral patterns. No, what the dog is doing is far more fundamental, far more ancient, a bedrock principle of learning. It has, through countless repeated experiences, formed an unbreakable association. It has observed a constant conjunction that specific sound has consistently, over time, been followed by the appearance of food in its bowl. Sound, then food. Sound, then food. This consistent, reliable pairing imprints itself not as a conscious logical syllogism, but as an ingrained expectation, an almost undeniable instinctual response. The sound for that dog, inherently means food is imminent. It's a predictive mechanism born purely of experience. And here is Hume's truly revolutionary and frankly, deeply humbling insight. We humans, with all our sophisticated language, our abstract mathematics, our profound scientific methodologies, are fundamentally operating on the exact same principles. Our most basic understandings of cause and effect, our confident expectations about the future, our very ability to navigate and predict the world around us, are built on this same bedrock, observed constant conjunctions. We learn that fire burns, not from some innate logical truth, but because we've experienced or observed its conjunction with pain or destruction. We expect the sun to rise tomorrow, not because we possess a logical proof of celestial mechanics, but simply because it always has, without fail, since time immemorial. There's no inherent logical necessity, Hume argued, that guarantees these regularities. It's custom, habit, an ingrained psychological expectation born of repeated, consistent observation, not pure a priori reason. Our vaunted human reason, the very faculty we often place at the apex of all existence, proudly distinguishing us from the lower animals, is not some unique divine spark entirely separate from the animal kingdom. No, it is an extension, a highly elaborated, incredibly complex, and fantastically powerful development of that same foundational instinct shared with the dog anticipating its dinner bowl. This realization forces a profound reevaluation of our self-perception. It demands a certain humility. If our reason is so deeply intertwined with these instinctual, habit-driven processes, then it stands to reason that it isn't the cold, calculating master we often imagine it to be. Instead, it serves a deeper purpose, one rooted in our very animal nature. This brings us directly to another of Hume's most famous and often misunderstood declarations. Reason is and ought only to be the slave of the passions, and can never pretend to any other office than to serve and obey them. This isn't an indictment of reason, it's a statement of its function. Our desires, our fears, our needs, our passions are the driving forces. Reason is the magnificent instrument, the cunning strategist, that helps us navigate the world to satisfy those passions, to avoid danger, to seek comfort, to reproduce, to survive, to flourish. It finds the effective means to the ends dictated by our inherent drives. So when Nietzsche, in The Birth of Tragedy, embarks on his profound critique of Socratic rationalism and its legacy, when he speaks of the Apollonian as the rationalizing, individuating, form-giving force attempting to impose order and beauty upon the chaotic, undifferentiated Dionysian depths, he is, in a profound and resonant way, tapping into a remarkably similar vein of thought that Hume explored. Nietzsche understood intuitively that beneath our meticulously constructed rational edifices and our grand narratives of progress lie these powerful, often unruly, instinctual currents. Our reason, magnificent and transformative though it is, remains fundamentally rooted in the humble, habit-forming, experience-driven brain of the animal. It is designed, not for apprehending ultimate, universal truth in some detached, purely objective sense, but for effective navigation and survival within a world inherently driven by desire, passion, and the will to power. It is this understanding, this unflinching acknowledgement of our deep, undeniable connection to the animalistic, that allows us to truly appreciate the complex, often paradoxical, and ultimately tragic nature of human existence, just as Nietzsche intended. Welcome back, or perhaps, welcome to the practical aftermath of our philosophical journey. We've delved into the profound depths of Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy wrestled with Apollonian and Dionysian forces, and confronted the uncomfortable truths about reason's limitations and existence's inherent challenges. Now, as we stand at the precipice of Chapter 10, living as a practical skeptic, a crucial question looms: if nothing is truly certain, if our foundational beliefs are built on sand, then what on earth should we do? How do we navigate a world stripped of absolute truths without succumbing to utter paralysis or despair? This isn't just an academic question, it's a deeply human one. Radical skepticism, pushed to its extreme, can indeed lead to a crippling inertia. If we can't be certain about the most basic aspects of our world, or if our actions hold any lasting consequence, why bother moving at all? This intellectual vertigo, this feeling of being utterly unmoored, threatens our very ability to live and thrive. It was the Scottish philosopher David Hume, in the 18th century, who perhaps most thoroughly explored the radical implications of empiricism and, in doing so, brought us to the very brink of this skeptical abyss. Hume argued that our reason, far from being the infallible guide we imagine, is ultimately limited. We cannot logically prove causality, the external world, or even the continuity of our own identity. These are all things we assume based on habit and experience, not irrefutable logic. So, what was Hume's solution to this profound intellectual conundrum? Did he advocate for retiring to a cave and doing nothing? Not at all. Hume proposed a fascinating, intensely practical two-part solution. For our intellectual pursuits, in the quiet of our study, we should be radical skeptics. We follow reason wherever it leads, ruthlessly questioning assumptions and accepting nothing not grounded in experience or demonstrative reasoning. In this realm, doubt is our most potent tool. However, Hume knew this relentless intellectual assault on certainty isn't sustainable for daily life. We are, after all, beings of flesh, habit, and emotion. So, for our ordinary existence, Hume argued we must set aside radical skepticism and simply live. We rely on natural instincts, ingrained habits, and common sense. We don't question gravity or the existence of others. We interact with the world as if it's real and reliable. We eat, converse, plan, allowing our natural propensities to guide us. It's a pragmatic acceptance. We are built to believe and to act, even without ultimate rational justification. This dual approach leads us to mitigated skepticism, not blind doubt nor blind acceptance, but a middle path. Firstly, it means questioning dogma, refusing beliefs based solely on tradition or authority, fostering an open, inquiring mind that asks why and how do we know. Secondly, it entails intellectual modesty. Recognizing human limits, we remain cautious and humble in our claims, avoiding sweeping statements about absolute truth. It cultivates humility, acknowledging how much we don't know. Finally, it means limiting inquiries to what humans can know. Instead of fruitlessly grappling with unanswerable metaphysical questions, mitigated skepticism encourages focusing on what we can investigate the natural world, human experience, ethics, and society, directing our energy towards problems within our observational and empirical scope. The ultimate goal of embracing this practical, mitigated skepticism, then, is not to induce anxiety or paralyze us into inaction. Quite the contrary. By freeing ourselves from the tyranny of absolute certainty and the endless pursuit of unprovable truths, we foster something far more valuable: curiosity and tolerance. Curiosity blossoms when we realize there's always more to learn, more to question, and that even our best answers are provisional. And tolerance naturally arises when we recognize that our own beliefs are not absolute, thus opening us up to understanding and respecting the different perspectives and ways of living held by others. It allows us to live fully and engage meaningfully with the world, even as we carry the quiet, humbling wisdom that comes from knowing we don't and perhaps cannot know everything. Having navigated the intricate dance of reason and passion within the human heart, we now step beyond Hume's immediate impact to trace the seismic ripples his thought sent through the centuries. For David Hume, this seemingly quiet philosopher from Edinburgh wasn't just a voice in the philosophical chorus. He was a disruptor, a catalyst whose ideas continue to echo, shaping not only how we think about knowledge, but how we build our world. Perhaps the most famous testament to his power comes from Immanuel Kant, who declared that Hume awoke me from my dogmatic slumber. Before Hume, much of philosophy operated on unchallenged assumptions about knowledge and causality. Hume, with relentless empiricism, revealed the shaky ground beneath many philosophical certainties. Kant, grappling with this skepticism, was forced to forge an entirely new path, revolutionizing philosophy by asserting the mind's active role in structuring experience. This awakening wasn't merely personal, it marked a pivotal turning point, changing Western thought and laying groundwork for critical philosophy. Hume's influence wasn't confined to philosophy. His problem of induction, The unsettling observation that no past experience can logically guarantee future outcomes stands as a profound challenge to scientific reasoning. We assume the sun will rise tomorrow because it always has. But Hume showed this is a psychological expectation, not a logical necessity. This insight profoundly shaped the philosophy of science. Scientists ever since speak not of proofs in Hume's absolute sense, but of theories robust, testable explanations supported by overwhelming evidence, yet always open to revision. The scientific method itself, with its emphasis on observation, hypothesis testing, and rigorous peer review, implicitly acknowledges Hume's challenge, striving for the most probable understanding of the universe. The very language and humility of scientific inquiry are imbued with Hume's skeptical spirit. Even more astonishingly, Hume's ideas about the association of ideas, how our minds link experiences based on resemblance, contiguity, and cause and effect, resonate deeply in modern cognitive science and psychology. His early musings laid foundational concepts for understanding learning, memory, and perception. Fast forward, and these very principles are at the heart of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Think how an AI system learns to recognize patterns. It's fed vast data, identifying statistical regularities and connections. This process mirrors Hume's concept of associating ideas from repeated experiences. When a recommendation engine suggests your next watch, or a self-driving car learns to identify obstacles, they are, in a profound sense, operating on principles echoing Hume's insights into how minds, biological or silicon, learn to navigate the world by forming associations. The neural networks powering our digital future are sophisticated, computational embodiments of Hume's rudimentary, yet brilliant, theories of mental linking. From awakening Kant to reshaping scientific epistemology, and even providing an intellectual ancestor for the algorithms driving our digital age, David Hume's courageous inquiry into the limits of human understanding continues to reverberate. We all, in ways often unrealized, live in a world profoundly shaped by his questions about knowledge, causality, and the nature of the mind. His echoes are not just historical curiosities, they are living forces, making his contributions more relevant than ever in our quest to understand ourselves, the universe, and the intelligent systems we are now building. Now, let's take these profound insights off the page and into your daily reality. We've explored the depths of our perceptions, our assumptions, and the very fabric of our understanding. But how do these philosophical concepts translate into the messy, beautiful, and often confusing stream of everyday life? Welcome to your 7-day Hume and Mindset Challenge, a practical action plan designed to help you turn theory into tangible practice, cultivating a more discerning and humble relationship with your own mind. This isn't about becoming a philosopher overnight, but about sharpening your awareness one step at a time. Steps Days 1 and 2, Observe Impressions vs. Ideas *. For the next 48 hours, your mission is simple. Notice the fundamental difference between a direct sensation, what Hume called an impression, and the story your mind immediately weaves around it, an idea. An impression is the raw, vivid, immediate data, the color red, the sound of a bird, the feeling of warmth. An idea is the mental representation, the concept, the judgment you form based on that impression. For example, when you see a red apple, the redness and the shape are impressions. The thought that's a delicious, crisp apple is an idea built from past experiences and expectations. When you hear a sudden loud noise, the auditory vibration is an impression. The thought "that's my annoying neighbor again" is an idea. Pay attention to how quickly your mind jumps from the raw, immediate sensory data to an interpretation, a label, or a story. Just observe this process without judgment. Simply notice here's the impression and there's the idea. This practice helps you momentarily pause at the threshold of perception, giving you a glimpse into the very genesis of your thoughts. Days 3 and 4 question cause and effect asterisk. On days 3 and 4, we're going to tackle one of Hume's most radical insights, our assumption of cause and effect. Identify just one cause and effect relationship you assume daily. It could be something as simple as, if I drink coffee, I'll be productive, or my bad mood is asterisk because asterisk of the weather, or even that person's silence asterisk means asterisk they're angry. Now ask yourself, what is my actual evidence for this connection? Do you ever asterisk actually asterisk witness the cause directly asterisk producing asterisk the effect? Or do you merely observe that one event consistently follows another? Hume argued we only ever perceive constant conjunction, not a necessary connection. Challenge yourself to see if there are other possible explanations, other factors at play, or if it's simply a habit of mind to link these two events. This isn't about denying that things happen in sequence, but about questioning the often invisible leap our minds make from correlation to absolute causation. You might be surprised by how many of your everyday assumptions rest on very little direct evidence. Days 5 and 6, feel the sensation of certainty asterisk. For days 5 and 6, we delve into the subjective experience of belief. Pick one belief you hold strongly. This could be anything from a political stance, a personal philosophy, or even a conviction about a favorite sports team. Instead of trying to justify it, debate it, or even understand its origins, just notice the asterisk feeling asterisk of certainty that accompanies it. What does that feeling physically and mentally manifest as? Is it a calm assurance, a rigid grip, a sense of lightness, or perhaps a defensive tension? Hume suggested that belief is less about a logical deduction and more about a peculiar, vivid impression or feeling of conviction. When you believe something, it's held with a certain force and vivacity that an imagined scenario doesn't possess. This challenge invites you to introspect, to feel the texture of your convictions, and to recognize that the feeling of certainty is itself an experience, not necessarily an infallible indicator of truth. It's about recognizing the subjective signature of your strongly held views. Day 7, practice humility language of experience asterisk. On our final day, let's bring this newfound awareness into our interactions. In one conversation, consciously try to use phrases like "it seems to me," or "based on my experience," or "from my perspective," instead of definitive statements like "I know," or "it is a fact that," or "you're wrong." This isn't about being indecisive or weak. It's about acknowledging the subjective, experiential nature of much of our knowledge and opinion. It reflects a human skepticism about absolute, unshakable certainty, especially in matters that aren't purely mathematical or logical. By framing your contributions as personal observations or interpretations, you open up space for dialogue, for different perspectives, and for a more nuanced understanding. It fosters intellectual humility and reminds you and your conversational partner that our understanding of the world is often built upon a unique chain of impressions and ideas unique to each individual. This 7-day challenge is just the beginning of a lifelong journey of philosophical inquiry into your own mind. Each step helps you to disentangle the raw data of existence from the intricate stories we constantly tell ourselves about it, granting you a profound and liberating perspective. As we draw this journey into Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy to a close, let's distill its profound insights into a practical 3-point toolkit. These aren't just academic observations, they are actionable principles designed to sharpen your thinking and deepen your engagement with the world, much as Nietzsche challenged us to engage with culture itself. Think of them as your personal compass for navigating complexity with clarity and courage, echoing the radical reevaluation Nietzsche demanded of his own time. First, past experience is your source code, dusk at its heart. This principle reminds us that all your genuine knowledge, all profound understanding, ultimately springs from your direct experience, not from abstract logic or second-hand dogma. Nietzsche, in peering into the depths of Greek tragedy, was not merely analyzing texts. He was attempting to grasp the lived, visceral experience of an entire culture, the dynamic interplay of Apollonian dreams and Dionysian intoxication. He understood that, to truly know something, you must confront it in its rawest form. So, trust your observations, your senses, your intuition, the data streaming into you from the world. Pay attention to how things feel how they manifest what their actual effects are, rather than simply accepting theoretical descriptions. But here's the crucial caveat: while experience is your primary input, know its limits. Our individual experiences are inherently partial, shaped by our unique perspectives and biases. Embrace your personal truth, but always remain open to new experiences that might expand or even challenge it. It's about grounding yourself in what's real and observable, rather than getting lost in the seductive, but often hollow echoes of pure theory or inherited wisdom. Secondly, Stoic's habit is your guide. This point speaks to the deep, often invisible, mental grooves that shape our perception of reality. Our belief in cause and effect, for instance, that every event has a preceding cause, feels like an undeniable law of the universe. Yet, Nietzsche, ever the genealogist of ideas, would argue that this is less an inherent, observable truth of the cosmos and more a deeply ingrained mental habit, a powerful cognitive tool that helps us make sense of a chaotic world. It's incredibly useful. It allows us to plan, predict, and act. Just as a potter develops a habit of shaping clay, our minds develop habits of perceiving and organizing information. The danger, however, lies in being fooled by it, in mistaking our convenient mental frameworks for the absolute, objective fabric of reality itself. Nietzsche constantly pushed us to examine the origins of our most cherished concepts, showing them to be historical, psychological, or even physiological constructs, not eternal verities. So, use your mental habits, your assumptions, your categories, your understanding of how the world works as practical guides, but never forget they are tools you wield, not immutable laws etched into the universe. Maintain a critical distance from your own thought patterns, recognizing their utility without succumbing to their illusion of ultimate truth. And finally, your most potent tool, skepticism, is your superpower. This isn't about cynicism or outright rejection, but about cultivating a practical, engaged skepticism. It's the courage to question dogma, to probe beneath the surface of accepted truths, and to challenge the very foundations of what seems obvious. Nietzsche, in The Birth of Tragedy, was nothing if not a profound skeptic. He skeptically dismantled the serene, rationalistic image of ancient Greece, revealing the terrifying, ecstatic Dionysian depths that underpinned their art and culture. He called us to look past the Apollonian veil of order and reason to the primal forces driving human existence. This means actively questioning the narratives you encounter, whether they come from tradition, authority, or even your own internal monologue. Embrace humility, recognize the limits of your own understanding, and be open to the possibility that what you hold dear might be built on shaky ground. And above all, stay curious. It's this insatiable curiosity, combined with a healthy dose of doubt, that propels us beyond superficial explanations and towards a more nuanced, authentic understanding of ourselves and the world. It's the superpower that allows you to unmask illusions, to see things as they truly are, and to forge your own path rather than passively follow another's. So, as you step back into your world, carry these 3 points with you. Trust your experience, but know its bounds. Use your mental habits as guides, but don't be fooled by their convenience, and wield skepticism as your superpower, constantly questioning, remaining humble, and staying curious. This isn't just about understanding a book. It's about equipping yourself with a Nietzschean spirit of inquiry to live a more examined, authentic, and critically engaged life, ready to confront the deepest truths about yourself and the culture around you. If this video genuinely made you think, if it stirred your intellectual curiosity, challenged your perspectives, or offered a fresh lens through which to view the world, please give it a like. That simple click is a powerful signal, not just to us, but to the wider algorithmic landscape, indicating that content like this, content that delves deep into complex ideas and makes big ideas accessible, is valuable and desired. And if you want to continue this journey with us, if you're eager for more deep dives into the grand narratives of philosophy, literature, and culture, then subscribe to our channel. Becoming a subscriber means you won't miss out on our future explorations, ensuring you're always part of the ongoing intellectual adventure we strive to cultivate here. Hit that notification bell too, so you're alerted every time a new challenge to convention, a new perspective-shattering concept, or a new profound insight is unveiled. Your engagement, whether through a like, a comment, or a subscription, fuels our mission to bring these foundational texts and radical thinkers to a broader audience, fostering a community dedicated to serious, yet accessible, intellectual inquiry. It helps us grow and continue producing the kind of content that stimulates the mind and nourishes the spirit of critical thought. Now, for your next intellectual journey, to delve deeper into the philosophical currents that shaped young Nietzsche's mind and provided the very bedrock for his revolutionary thought, I highly recommend checking out our video on Schopenhauer's profound influence on Nietzsche. There, we unpack the intricate ways in which Schopenhauer's metaphysics of the will and his stark pessimism served as both an inspiration and a challenge for Nietzsche, ultimately propelling him towards his own unique philosophical destiny. It's an essential companion piece, offering critical context that deepens your appreciation for the revolutionary scope of The Birth of Tragedy and the intellectual wrestling match Nietzsche engaged in with his philosophical predecessors. It's an opportunity to trace the lineage of ideas, to see how one monumental thinker built upon and ultimately transcended the work of another. Remember, The inquiry concerning human understanding never really ends. It's not a finish line to be crossed, but an infinite horizon to constantly move towards. It's an unfolding drama, a perpetual process of questioning, learning, unlearning, and relearning. Each answer often begets a dozen new questions. Each discovery opens up unforeseen territories of thought. This ongoing quest, this relentless pursuit of deeper meaning and clearer insight, isn't something to be feared or to be seen as an endless burden. It's precisely where life's greatest intellectual joys and satisfactions are found. It just gets more interesting. So keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep engaging with the profound ideas that shape our world. The journey is its own reward, and we're honored to share it with you. If this video genuinely made you think, if it stirred your intellectual curiosity, challenged your perspectives, or offered a fresh lens through which to view the world, please give it a like. That simple click is a powerful signal, not just to us, but to the wider algorithmic landscape, indicating that content like this, content that delves deep into complex ideas and makes big ideas accessible, is valuable and desired. And if you want to continue this journey with us, if you're eager for more deep dives into the grand narratives of philosophy, literature, and culture, then subscribe to our channel. Becoming a subscriber means you won't miss out on our future explorations, ensuring you're always part of the ongoing intellectual adventure we strive to cultivate here. Hit that notification bell too, so you're alerted every time a new challenge to convention, a new perspective-shattering concept, or a new, profound insight is unveiled. Your engagement, whether through a like, a comment, or a subscription, fuels our mission to bring these foundational texts and radical thinkers to a broader audience, fostering a community dedicated to serious, yet accessible, intellectual inquiry. It helps us grow and continue producing the kind of content that stimulates the mind and nourishes the spirit of critical thought. Now, for your next intellectual journey, to delve deeper into the philosophical currents that shaped young Nietzsche's mind and provided the very bedrock for his revolutionary thought, I highly recommend checking out our video on Schopenhauer's profound influence on Nietzsche. There, we unpack the intricate ways in which Schopenhauer's metaphysics of the will and his stark pessimism served as both an inspiration and a challenge for Nietzsche, ultimately propelling him towards his own unique philosophical destiny. It's an essential companion piece, offering critical context that deepens your appreciation for the revolutionary scope of Asterisk, the birth of tragedy Asterisk, and the intellectual wrestling match Nietzsche engaged in with his philosophical predecessors. It's an opportunity to trace the lineage of ideas, to see how one monumental thinker built upon and ultimately transcended the work of another. Remember, the inquiry concerning human understanding never really ends. It's not a finish line to be crossed, but an infinite horizon to constantly move towards. It's an unfolding drama, a perpetual process of questioning, learning, unlearning, and relearning. Each answer often begets a dozen new questions. Each discovery opens up unforeseen territories of thought. This ongoing quest, this relentless pursuit of deeper meaning and clearer insight, isn't something to be feared or to be seen as an endless burden. It's precisely where life's greatest intellectual joys and satisfactions are found. It just gets more interesting. So keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep engaging with the profound ideas that shape our world. The journey is its own reward, and we're honored to share it with you.